It's the Scotty Myers Show.
Hey, how's it going this week? Hopefully, you're having an excellent week so far. Welcome to the show, and unfortunately, for the second week in a row, we have to start talking about a celebrity that had a massive impact around the world that is no longer with us. And of course, I'm talking about Kobe Bryant, whose death was tragic, sudden, shocking. It's had a profound effect on people all around the globe, as Kobe, obviously one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but also, this was a guy that was starting to find his feet in the next chapter of his life. He was starting to figure out who he wanted to be after basketball, and he had a lot of different interests. He written and directed some small film projects and things like that. A creative guy, an inventive guy, a guy that, basketball-wise, very few are his peer. There was so many people that idolized Kobe. Even the greats in the game today talk about how they idolized Kobe Bryant, and it's a shocking death because of how it happened. I mean, all deaths are shocking, even when we kind of know that it's gonna happen, like somebody's sick in the hospital. Then even when it does happen, it's still shocking. I mean, Kobe was out with his daughter enjoying a helicopter ride, and that was it. It's made everybody, I think, kind of sit back and realize just how fragile life is. I mean, we know that, and I mean, we should know that, but sometimes, unfortunately, it takes these jarring reminders to say, you know what, this is whisper thin what we're walking on when we talk about life, and it could go at any second. And it is one of those things we have to try to remember to take the time to talk to the people that mean things to us, whether it's family or friends. Acknowledge people that have done good for us, or helped us out along the way. There's a lot of ways that we can, maybe when our time is up, we go without as many regrets if we're more conscious that time could happen at any time. We're not guaranteed any set amount of years or days or hours or minutes. And I think that's what the Kobe Bryant tragedy kind of puts in our head. One of the most painful things I've seen about it was Shaquille O'Neal talking. Now, their feud is legendary. Two of the greats of the game, and they couldn't get along on the court. They had different ways that they approached basketball. Shaq, listen, he was a physical specimen. He didn't have to work out as hard. He's just a big dude. He was hard to move around. He was hard to guard. Kobe was a guy that put in hours and hours in the gym and constant working and a bit of a perfectionist almost. And so obviously they came from different mindsets of the game, and they had a bit of a feud, and it's legendary. Shaquille O'Neal talking about Kobe Bryant, the man was in tears. And he was saying, they were friends. They got past, their feud was mostly just how they each approached the game. But Shaq said, I hadn't talked to him in, 4 years. Just because time goes. Time, it flies by. It really, really does. And watching Shaq, talk about the things that he wasn't going to get to do because of what, like he was looking for. He said, looking forward. Pardon me. I was looking forward to, going to his Hall of Fame induction and making fun of him and all those types of things. That's not going to happen now. They've elected Kobe into the Hall of Fame just now without a vote, which is, the right thing to do. But watching Shaquille O'Neal, if you haven't seen him speaking on Kobe Bryant, if you can take it, it's worth watching. It's gut-wrenching, but if you can take it, it's worth watching. And he sums it up better than I ever could. But all I can say from it really is don't let the time slip away from you. Make sure that you acknowledge those important people in your life. so that maybe you don't have as many regrets. I think there's no way any of us go regret free. But anyway, so that's that topic. Hopefully that's not how we're starting every show in 2020. This hasn't been a great start to the year. Today in my home country of Canada is Bell Let's Talk Day. And this was an initiative started by Bell, who's a huge media company in Canada. My cell phone is with Bell and that type of thing. But they do radio, television, cell phones, you name it, they do it. And they started this Let's Talk Day where they would donate 5 cents for every text, and then it became every text and tweet, and it's growing since then, to mental health initiatives. Now, as someone who has struggled with depression and anxiety issues for most of my life, sometimes it's been very, very bad. I love that they do this, and I love the idea behind Bell Let's Talk, because I can really say in all honesty, it was not until I started talking about my depression and my anxieties that I started down a road where I'm never going to be cured. It's not like a cold, or I'm never going to be healed. It's not like a broken arm. But having the ways and the means to combat the depression and the anxiety only came because I started talking about it. And I may have told this story before, but I'll tell it again because this is a good time to do it. But I denied that I had a problem for years. I thought, if I'm depressed, you get over it. Or if I admit that, no, there's something not right, it's a sign of weakness. Those were the types of things that kept me from going to my doctor and saying, I think I need to talk to somebody. I think there's something wrong, or, anything like that. And I had a friend, Jen, who dealt with some mental health issues and was open about it, very, very open about it. And she saw the signs in me, and she kept saying, you need to go talk to somebody. You need to go talk to somebody. And the only reason I honestly did was to shut her up. I mean, if I'm going to be totally honest as to why I did eventually have that conversation with my doctor, was because I told her in a conversation, I said, fine, Jen, next time I go to the doctor, I'll talk to them about it. And then you have to promise me when they tell me everything's fine to not bring it up anymore. And obviously everything was not fine. And that started me down my path. So had I never opened my mouth and talked about it, I probably wouldn't be here. If I'm going to be totally, totally honest about it, I probably wouldn't be here today. And it all started with a very small, very simple conversation. And that's what I like about the name of the Let's Talk thing. That is, to me, the biggest first hurdle for anybody dealing with any mental health issue is talking about it. Now, whether you talk about it with a doctor, whether you talk about it with your family, whether you talk about it with a very close friend, that's up to you and whatever is going to work for you. But you have to, I know there's probably somebody listening to this that is dealing with some depression issues or some other mental health issue, and they think they're going to look weak because their mind fights them, basically. You're not going to look weak. It takes a lot of strength to talk about it. It takes more strength to talk about it than to not. It's lifting a mental weight. You see a weight on the floor, it obviously takes more strength to pick up that weight than it does to leave it sitting on the floor. That's mental health issues. It takes more strength to look at them and deal with them and pick them up than it does to just leave them where they are. So my thing is I encourage anyone at any time, find somebody that you can talk to. Listen, if you got to reach out to me, reach out to me. But don't waste a lot of time. I wasted a lot of years of my life. The best way I can describe it is I was just spinning my wheels. I was stuck in mud, spinning my wheels. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I wasn't doing that because of my anxiety and my depression. And I didn't have the tools to combat it. when I had that conversation with the doctor, we started on medication. I took medication for quite a number of years, and that was a little bit of trial and error, finding the right one. And you have to have some patience when you get on this road. You may luck out if you go down the medication road, the first one might be the one that works for you. It might be the fourth one, but you have to trust the process. And then after I'd been doing medication for a while, I decided I needed to see a therapist. And that's the same thing. That is trial and error as well. Not every therapist is good for every person. Me playing sports my whole life, I eventually found someone that had more of a sports psychology background. So she kind of understood how my mind worked, and we clicked, and she has helped me more than I can ever put into words. And again, though, how is she helping me? Just with talking. But through talking and through understanding how my depression works, how my anxiety works, I now have better tools to fight it. When I wake up in the morning and I know it's going to be a bad day, I can just feel it in my brain. I have better tools to fight that bad day. Whereas there was times if I woke up in the morning and I had that bad feeling, I stayed in bed all day. I shut my phone off. I hid from the world. I would rather fight than lay in bed all day. So as I say, if you need to reach out to anyone, even me, Scotty Mars Show on Facebook, Scotty Mars Show on Instagram, at Scotty Mars on Twitter, I'll be more than happy to talk to you, and maybe we can, get you on the right path to get the proper tools. All right? So feel free anytime. Enough serious stuff, though. Let's get into some silliness. Vermont, the state of Vermont. I have not been there since I was a child, and I don't know that I want to go there anymore because I think their government has lost their damn mind. The state of Vermont is very, very close to putting emojis on license plates. Now, here's a couple of things I would say. Anybody remember the Emoji Movie? It tanked. It bombed. So that should tell you people... they're not that into emojis. You know what I mean? Yeah, every now and then it makes it a little easier to throw a happy face or a heart on something. But really, I think the emoji thing, I think we're kind of over it. I think we're past emojis at this point, especially on a license plate. How in the hell are police going to radio that in? I'm looking for a stolen vehicle. What was the license plate? Happy face, peach, avocado, eggplant. If I was the officer at that point, I'd be like, you know what? You don't deserve to have a car. Have a nice day. This is ridiculous. No emojis on license plates. Come on. That's just ridiculous. On to our off story of the week. The story when you see the headline, you just go, oh, for fuck's sakes. And today, this one, it deals with a very serious topic, and I'd like to say that I was surprised by this headline, but I'm not, and it's a sad state on the world we live in. So, of course, right now the world is on edge because of the coronavirus, and the headline basically said a surprising number of people think the coronavirus has to do with the Corona beer. It doesn't. Even if you catch a base type of story on the coronavirus, it started in Japan. I believe Corona's from Mexico. They're not even on the same continent. And I could be wrong about where Corona's from, but I'm fairly certain it's not from Asia. So even if you caught the tail end of a news story, you should know the coronavirus seemed to originate in Japan. And I think these people that are looking and going, oh, coronavirus is going to do with the beer. A, they're Googling to try to be funny. Or B, they were frat kids, and one of the hazing challenges was smack yourself upside the head with a Corona bottle 15 times and you're in. And a few of these guys maybe went 5 or 6 extra smacks, and now they think the coronavirus has to do with Corona beer. It doesn't. It's serious. I see a lot of people, like I'm still in the U.S. right now. I'm in Denver, and I was in Seattle, and they had a case in Washington State. And it was a little unnerving because, you read how quickly it can transmit and stuff. But never once have I worried about picking up a beer bottle and catching a disease. Never have I worried about that. I once drank out of a tequila bottle that Tommy Lee drank out of. I did have a mild concern about catching hepatitis there for a second, but I'm fine. Thanks for the blood test. But if you think that the coronavirus has to do with beer, go drown your sorrow somewhere else. Offs. On to our geek news of the week. We got some good ones this week, some good stories coming out in the geek world. Now, as I record this, Arrow is no more. The finale happened the other night, and I watched it. It was a bittersweet episode. They did a great job of bringing kind of everybody back that had a key role throughout the series run. But watching the show, and you can say what you want about Arrow, it's had its up and downs. It definitely has. Some seasons were phenomenal, some were average. There was never one that I didn't like. And I think it definitely, as a comic book purist, I was not a fan of the Felicity Oliver romance thing. In my mind, it's always, Black Canary and Green Arrow are the couple. But for all of Arrow's faults, it did more right than it did wrong. And it also gave us the Arrowverse, which, as a comic book nerd, I never thought I'd see a live action Firestorm. I never thought we'd get to Martian Manhunter, and we got that. And yeah, that Martian Manhunter's in Supergirl, but Supergirl doesn't happen unless Arrow's a hit. It's the same with Flash, same with Legends of Tomorrow. All these great shows don't happen without Arrow being so well done, especially those first couple of seasons were phenomenal. I would say season 2 is probably the best season of a superhero TV show ever. Season 2 was amazing. And, before we got a Suicide Squad movie, we got to see the Suicide Squad on TV. And again, as a comic nerd, never thought I'd get to see live action Suicide Squad in any way, shape, or form. So to all the cast and crew of Arrow, I want to say thank you for giving us an amazing show that launched a universe that continues to put out quality products. Again, everything's a roller coaster. It's all up and down. But overall, I'm very, very happy with the Arrowverse, but very sad to see Arrow go. So thank you to all the cast and crew. Sticking with DC, although shifting to their movie division, of course, Birds of Prey, not that far away now, a little over a week or so. And we do know now that there is a post-credit scene in Birds of Prey. So don't get up as soon as the credits start to roll. Hang out and check out the post-credit scene. Perhaps it sets up a Birds of Prey sequel. Perhaps it sets up Gotham City Sirens. Perhaps it ties into James Gunn's Suicide Squad. There's lots of ways that post-credit scene could go. So I'm very anxious to check that out. Tickets are on sale for Birds of Prey now. If you want to go see it early, grab your tickets while you can. And another big DC Comics movie that we're all pretty excited about is The Batman. And, well, Batman Begins. Production, that is. Matt Reeves has started production on The Batman. Of course, Robert Pattinson is the Dark Knight. Colin Farrell is the Penguin. The cast goes on and on and on. It looks phenomenal as far as casting goes. Very anxious to get our first look at the new Batsuit, at the new Batmobile, at Robert Pattinson in the Batsuit. So many things are going to keep the internet buzzing from the Batman over the next little while. But I, for one, stoked. I think Robert Pattinson's going to crush it. Kid's a really good actor. He really is. Forget about the Twilight shit. Everything he's done since then, he's been phenomenal in. So I think he'll be a good Bruce Wayne. On to some Star Wars drama. I'm sure you've heard of this by now, but a story came out that said that Disney was delaying the Obi-Wan series because of massive script rewrites. Now, one story even said they were doing script rewrites because the script was too similar to The Mandalorian as far as how the story goes. Well, that's one side of the story. The other side of the story is Ewan McGregor, who's going to return as Obi-Wan, doing press for Birds of Prey. People asked him about it, and he said, this story is total bullshit. He said that everything is still on track, that they haven't delayed it. It's hard for them to say they've delayed it when they never gave us a date, But according to Ewan McGregor, everything is fine. Everything is still a go, and that Obi-Wan is going to be fantastic. I tend to believe Ewan McGregor a bit more than I do kind of baseless internet rumor. Now, again, Ewan's not going to come out and say, oh my God, yes, everything's a shit show. But I don't know. Ewan he's a trustworthy dude. He's Obi-Wan, for God's sakes. But I still am very excited for Obi-Wan. And we do get more Star Wars TV shows headed our way. Of course, there's that prequel for Cassian Andor, the kind of second main character in Rogue One. He's getting his own story along with the droid. That, to me, still one of the most heartbreaking moments in a Star Wars movie outside of The Rise of Skywalker was when that droid died in Rogue One. I felt the pain of that death. So it's going to be good to see those two back in a small screen role. And I've seen a lot of people online going like, nobody asked for this show. Nobody wanted this show. Why is Disney making this show? I don't think anybody asked for The Mandalorian either. If my memory serves, everybody wanted a Boba Fett show, which I would still love to see. Nobody asked for The Mandalorian. We got it, and the result was fantastic. Maybe that's going to happen with this show. Everybody just cool your jets. We'll see what happens when it comes out. But so far, with the TV shows, whether it's Clone Wars or Mandalorian, Disney's been doing a good job. And Transformers are not done on the big screen. They have hired writers to write 2 new Transformers movies. Now, I've read a couple of different things. One rumor says that it's going to be based more on Beast Wars than your traditional Transformer stories. But I've also read that it's going to act as a reboot for the Transformers universe because there is money to be made there. You just have to stop making shitty movies. And the thing is, they kind of did that. This is why I'm hoping it's not a full-on reboot because Bumblebee was really good. Like, I was surprised how good Bumblebee was. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. I want more. And I thought they nailed Optimus Prime in that movie. Like, everything was spot on. It was what I wanted out of a Transformers movie. So if they are rebooting, I hope they're rebooting from the groundwork that was laid in the Bumblebee movie, because to throw that out would be a shame because it kind of acted on its own. It was a prequel to all the Transformers movies. So you could use that as your launching point for a new Transformers movie universe with that Bumblebee, as opposed to, anything else, like rebooting it and forgetting that one and throwing it out. So hopefully Bumblebee is still included and based off that movie, because if you haven't watched it because you were burned by Transformers movies in the past, listen, I understand. I was hesitant to go see it myself, but it is worth checking out. I highly, highly, highly recommend Bumblebee. And that will do it for this week. I will be home next week, back in the home studio. Looking forward to that. Big thanks to Milky. He's the guy that runs blasttheradio.com. He serves almost like as a producer for me when I'm out on the road. He edits stuff together for me, and that great guy, I can't thank him enough. So he's the reason why you get the show every week. And thanks again for spreading the word. Bolivia, the latest country to pop up on our listening map. So thank you, whoever was listening in Bolivia. Keep spreading the word. Keep the ratings, reviews. We're climbing up the rankings. It's fantastic. Thank you very much. And don't forget to follow us on social media, The Scotty Mars Show on Facebook, The Scotty Mars Show on Instagram, at Scotty Mars on Twitter. And until we chat again, have a great week.